courts just said that Trump can proceed with the ending of birthright citizenship. This has been one of the biggest topics, if not the biggest topic, since he's gotten into office. Now hear me out. It's went through. He can do what he wants to do now, according to the courts. Family, you already know what to do, and if you're brand new too, thumbs up this video so YouTube can push this content out. Smash subscribe to join the tribe, and ring the post notification bell as well. All right, let's get into it. This is going to be a long video. Watch all the way to the end. I appreciate y'all. Let's get into it.
We can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation. This was, in fact, it was the same date, the exact same date, the end of the Civil War. It was meant for the babies of slaves, and it's so clean and so obvious. But this lets us go there and finally win that case, because hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason. It was meant for the babies of slaves. So thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with these numerous policies and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and numerous other priorities of the American people.
Did you hear about the ending of the birthright citizenship? Yeah. That means if two undocumented people have a baby in America, the baby's not a citizen and can be deported. I think what they said too, if there's one legal citizen and an undocumented parent, the baby's still not a citizen. You see, way back in the day, they had that bill out for slaves, babies that they made that bill for. Now they're trying to change it. So 22 states came back and tried to make a lawsuit against it, saying it was unconstitutional. Well, Trump supporters, red states, came back and said it is constitutional, and the Supreme Court passed it, saying that the birthright citizenship will end in 30 days. So if you have a baby in America and you're undocumented, your baby is not a citizen. It's sad, I know, it's wrong, I know. But that's what they're doing. I'm just trying to give you the news as I get it. Thank you.
So the Supreme Court just voted to allow Trump to remove birthright citizenship. And you said he wasn't gonna do that. It's so funny to me because y'all all swore up and down, no, he can't do that. No, it's in the Constitution. It's your 14th Amendment right. Ha, 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 ha. I'm laughing in your face right now. I'm laughing in your face. Are you guys gonna continue to be blind and not view what is going on right now in front of our faces? Or you're gonna keep on being delusional? Or you're going to keep on living in La La Land, the fantasy land that Trump has created in every single one of your minds? We're living in a dictatorship. We're living in a dictatorship. We're living in a dictatorship. I don't know how y'all don't see it, but it's just, this is the beginning of so many different things that are about to change for this country. And like I always say, I hope you get what you voted for. I hope you get what you voted for.
Breaking news. Many of you have heard about the birthright citizenship executive order that Trump was going to pass, right? Now, when that came out, there were a lot of suits that went into federal court, pretty much filing for an injunction to stop President Trump to be able to file this executive order. What is his power? All right. Now, Donald Trump appealed that. It went all the way to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court just pretty much stated that the federal court do not have the right to stop the president's executive order. What does that mean for birthright citizenship? It means that Donald Trump may actually be able to kill that, redefine what that means, or even get rid of it altogether. Breaking news.
Now, family, I just want y'all to drop a comment below and tell me, what do y'all think about this? How do you feel about Trump being able to end birthright citizenship? There's mixed opinions, but from the most part, I'm seeing people are mad right now across the board. People that are not black, right? People that are not descendants of slaves, where the 14th Amendment was really initially intended for. I don't know how I got to the point that all of these migrants could flood in here in the first place. And I'm seeing some black people take it out of context. They're not fully understanding what's going on, right? So I just want to hear from y'all. These are high-level conversations. I know this is a high-level community. So what I would like to do at this moment in time is hear from y'all. How do y'all feel about this?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but if you're undocumented or even here on a visa, this Supreme Court decision could impact your children, your future, and yes, our rights. And it starts with babies born in 2025. Trump's executive order trying to end automatic citizenship is on the table, and the Supreme Court just made it easier for this executive order to move forward. I'm going to break this down for you. Trump signed an executive order back in January that stopped birthright citizenship for babies born in the U.S. to undocumented immigrants or people on temporary visas. The Constitution says all people born on U.S. soil are citizens, but this order says not anymore, at least not if your parents aren't permanent residents or citizens. This would apply to babies born in 2025. Now, the Supreme Court just ruled that lower courts can't block this order nationwide. They can only protect the people in the direct lawsuit, and that means that it could still go into effect in parts of the country. Right now, there is a 30-day pause on the enforcement of this executive order, but after that, it's open season unless more legal action stops this. This isn't just about newborns. If this goes forward, it could open the door to creating a system where the president can deny certain rights with narrow remedies challenging the overstepping of presidential authority. This ruling has broad implications on all of us who are seeking the protection of our rights under the Constitution. So stay informed and make sure that you understand your rights and what needs to be protected, because right now that Supreme Court order is saying that each person needs to file a lawsuit if they don't want their citizenship or their baby's citizenship to be stripped.
Donald Trump is 100% standing on business with this Supreme Court ruling on the 14th Amendment. He says this was for the babies of slaves again. Check this out.
Through this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore. That was meant for the babies of slaves.
Birthright citizenship is going away, and people want black Americans to put the capes on and care about them, and we don't give a shit. Because every time we need another group, including people from the African diaspora, what do? You find ways to shit on our freaking legends like the Buffalo Soldiers, Harriet Tubman, so many others. You find a way to come over and undermine us. You find a way to go in and get under white supremacists and find a way to just constantly find a way to shit on us. To show us there is no unity. We've tried the whole black and brown unity. We tried to save the freaking African diaspora. At this point, we are fucking resting. We don't give a shit. Now, if I don't speak for you, that's fine. But I can guarantee you a good chunk of black America is sick of everybody's shit. So it don't matter if you come from the freaking diaspora or any other group. We don't care.
Let me make one thing real clear. This ain't about injunctions. This is about erasing the 14th Amendment with a smile. We thought the courts were supposed to be the last line of defense. The place where liberty stands tall even when presidents go rogue. But on Friday, in a 6-3 decision straight down party lines, the Supreme Court told us, nah, we good. They let Trump sneak his foot in the door to cancel birthright citizenship. And they dressed it up in legal jargon about equity and injunctions. Oh, but don't get distracted. The real target was always your rights, especially if you was born with brown skin, immigrant parents, or ancestors who came here in chains rather than visas. For a second, it looked like the lower courts might hold the line, right? 3 federal judges had already slapped Trump's executive orders down with nationwide injunctions, telling him loud and clear, you can't just rewrite the Constitution because you feel like it. Immigrant groups were celebrating. 22 states stood up in court. Even the appellate courts said, let this play out. Then SCOTUS slid in like a repo man in the night. Instead of ruling on whether Trump's executive order was flat out unconstitutional, which it was, they sidestepped it and went for the technical foul. Universal injunctions go too far. God Damn it. Basically, the court said that judges can't stop Trump's policies for everyone. Only the people who specifically sued. So now we're playing legal whack-a-mole across 50 states while Trump rushes to implement a policy that directly contradicts 150 years of law. So what's at stake, right? Everything. Let me break this down plain and simple. Trump's executive order says if your parents weren't here legally, or maybe they were here legally but temporarily, you don't deserve citizenship. Are you serious? The 14th Amendment that was passed after the Civil War to make sure that black folks were considered full human beings says all persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens. It don't say except for immigrants. It don't say only if your parents had papers. It says all persons. A phrase so fucking inclusive, it slapped the face of Dred Scott and every slave master of the fucking Confederacy. So what Trump is really doing here is rewriting Reconstruction. The very laws meant to undo slavery. And the Supreme Court just handed him the pen. You thought Isengard was bad? You thought Voldemort was a problem? Justice Amy Coney Barrett, Trump's handpicked avatar, penned this majority opinion like it was a legal lullaby. With principles of equity, she says, while politely gutting the power of federal courts to stop executive tyranny. And while they didn't officially cancel birthright citizenship yet, make no mistake, they laid the legal groundwork to allow Trump to do it himself. In the dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor, she tried to hold the line, calling out how this decision disregards the long history of protection for non-parties. But her voice is now a lonely alarm in a house full of arsonists. This ain't about immigration. This is about control. It's about telling people of color, especially black, brown, or immigrant babies, that their existence is conditional. That if you ain't got the generational wealth, land deeds, or ancestors off the Mayflower, you're permanently under review. Today is birthright citizenship. Tomorrow is voting rights. Affirmative action, gone. Housing, gone. Education, you got it, gone. When does it stop? In the MAGA cult, are they going to keep smiling in your face, talking about this is what we voted for. This is what the founders wanted. Don't forget, y'all, the founders owned slaves. They're not playing. Trump told you on day one what he was coming for. And this court just gave him the green light to drive through your rights like a bulldozer in a graveyard. So don't wait on the Constitution to bleed before you speak up. Because if birthright citizenship can be reviewed, so can your freedom.
Now I hear y'all out. I hear y'all that's saying this is the setup. He's setting the play to something more sinister, something worse that's going to come after this, right? I'm hearing that. But I'm conflicted on this one. I'm going to keep it real. Y'all know how I do on this channel. I don't care how you feel. I say that humbly, but I'm conflicted on this one because me, both of my parents, I'm going to say this. I'm Hebrew, right? My last name is Hebrew. On my ancestry, it doesn't even have American on there. But both of my parents are from America. My grandparents are from America. My great-great-grandparents are from America. I did have a grandparent that stowed away on a ship from the Middle East and came to America, right? One of my ancestors. To give y'all some context, I know through my history, like I said, I'm Hebrew. I am a descendant of a slave through my ancestors, but me, I am not. Both of my parents, my whole, at least 3 generations that I know of that are American. So this would not apply to me. This would not apply to most of us. Slavery started in 1619 in America. I wasn't around then. I'm sure you weren't around then. It's been 400 years. The 400 years are up. So even if I was deported, I wouldn't feel a type of way about it. In Genesis, it says, Genesis 15:13. This is the Sefer version. And he said unto Abram, know that a surety that thou shalt be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them for 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. Me, I'm ready to come out with great substance. I'm not basing my whole life around being in America. I'm waiting on the call from the Most High to exit and flee from Babylon, America. Come out of her, my people. I'm waiting on that call. So I don't feel no type of way about being deported. If I was deported today, I wouldn't feel a type of way.
Don't mind the red eyebrows. I just came out of my haircut appointment. But I just wanted to talk about the birthright citizenship thing. I know Trump is trying to end it. I still don't think it's going to go through, but if it does, I can understand why. Because other countries, if you are born in their country, technically you're not a citizen from that country unless both your parents are citizens of that country. So let's say I was born in Japan to American citizens. Just because I'm born in Japan doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a Japanese citizen, unless the law says I am able to get citizenship for being born on their land. But if it's not like that, I'm a citizen of America because both of my parents are American citizens. So I'd be an American citizen. That's the same thing that's happening in the U.S. Trump wants U.S. citizens to have babies, and that baby is going to become a U.S. citizen. He doesn't want illegal immigrants to come in here, have a baby, and have their baby be American citizens. And then there's that problem. The parents are illegal, but the kid is a citizen. How do you work that out? And someone did bring up a question during this speech that he was having earlier today. And they asked him, what about the baby? Like, you can't necessarily deport a baby. And I agree, it's kind of fucked up if you think about it. But the thing is, regardless of how fucked up it may sound like, the law is the law. And I'm not saying deport the baby, obviously. I say maybe let the baby stay here for a couple months until he's able to go back with his family. But yeah, it's messed up. I know it's messed up. But like I said, why is it racist when America tries to do something like this, but when other countries do it, it's not racism? Like, make it make sense. I don't hear people crying about this happening in Japan and Korea and Russia, wherever it happens. Mexico even, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty sure if I'm born in Mexico, I can't be a Mexican citizen unless both my parents are Mexican, right? I could probably go for dual citizenship if I wanted to. But, like, honestly, I just don't understand why people are getting upset over this. Maybe this wouldn't be an issue if people would come here legally. That's all I have for today. What are your thoughts on this?
And y'all heard what I said on the first. If I was deported today, I wouldn't feel a type of way. Let me capitalize on what this guy right here said. See, me, I've lived in Thailand. I lived in the Philippines. I've lived in Mexico before. And with me going there, I know that if I am undocumented and I get caught, I'm going to jail, got to pay a fine, or I'm being deported, or all of the above. I don't expect to go there and be there undocumented. If so, I'd have to be under the radar and hope I don't get caught. I know that. And I know that most countries operate like that. Not all, but most of them. It would be the same thing if I was from another country coming to America. I would expect the same thing, me personally, due to the fact I lived in other countries. And I know that's how things go there too. And I also understand what the 14th Amendment entails and who it was designed for. It was designed for my people. I don't see why black people are getting upset about this. If you had the knowledge that I got, then you wouldn't get upset about this either. But to each its own. Y'all might eat me up in the comments, but my Hebrew people, y'all gonna be on my side. We live a set apart life. So most people not gonna agree with us. We walk the straight and narrow path. And once again, we waiting on that call to get out of her, meaning get out of here. So we are not partakers of the plagues that are coming to this nation under judgment, which Babylon, Mystery Babylon, America is under right now. I know that this is not where I'm supposed to be. We was only here due to our sinning against the Most High. So we were brought here and enslaved here. We were in bondage here, just like when we were in bondage in Egypt. But that was not our country to begin with. And Africa is rising while America is on the decline. It's collapsing. It's falling. the whole system falling.
Conversation around birthright citizenship is so intriguing to me because I've studied this historically, I've taught this in government classes, and its intended purpose was to protect African Americans and the children, the babies of African Americans from the status of slavery. And now we're talking about it because of non-citizens, because of illegal immigrants, because of undocumented immigrants. Since the court case that happened yesterday with Trump v. Casa, I feel like this conversation is really heating up. It is needed. This conversation is so needed. We truly need the Supreme Court to decide who this was truly intended for. The 14th Amendment's original intent was to protect formerly enslaved African Americans, to protect their children, granting them citizenship. And today we see the context of the 14th Amendment being stretched way beyond its initial context. Seen under the Biden administration, they failed miserably at protecting our borders, allowing illegal immigration to persist, crossing ports of entry, overstaying their visas. And we see that some of these illegal immigrants are having children. And in a lot of cases, these illegal immigrants who are having children in the United States are able to benefit off of government assistance. Obviously, we see that the 14th Amendment is being exploited because there's this collision of illegal activity reaping the benefits from our Constitution that was meant to protect us. And this is what we're going to see the Supreme Court decide in months to come. Does the 14th Amendment guarantee legal citizenship to children of parents with illegal status? And let's not pretend that this conversation is foreign, because globally, most of the world either one, does not grant citizenship automatically to children born of undocumented parents, or two, they may grant citizenship depending on the legality of the parent within the country. There is a precedent court case that the United States Supreme Court usually goes by, but we are long overdue. This court case happened in 1898. Basically, this court case said all children born on U.S. soil, regardless of parental status, has U.S. citizenship. But here's the catch. Wong Kim Ark's parents were legal residents of the United States. They were not undocumented. So obviously in 2025, we are dealing with a completely different reality, and it's time for us to put America first and change the incentive.
So I don't know if y'all saw the recent Supreme Court ruling. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to cry. But they sided with the Trump administration on nationwide injunctions, which was preventing birthright citizenship, which was preventing Trump's birthright citizenship executive order from going in effect. And so essentially it's a 30-day pause before whatever guidance they put out will go in effect, which essentially means that you can't do a nationwide injunction to curtail some of his executive orders, which essentially means that it puts 250,000 children. It puts 250,000 children in limbo. And we know that they don't want to stop there. They've already been trying to position to put U.S. citizens in foreign jails, which we know a lot of that will be black and brown people. And the Supreme Court basically said that they can rewrite the Constitution unilaterally. So it seems the only way to protect yourself or your child, and like, I'm trying not to cry, but as a mom, it's hard to imagine you not knowing if your child is safe. Citizenship is like the bedrock of the Constitution. If you're born on the land of the United States of America, you're a citizen. So for the court to put out this order and then not even comment on the merits, which essentially puts all us in limbo, it takes years to get to the Supreme Court. That means you can be a citizen in California, but you might not be a citizen in Texas. And we've already seen them use the National Guard to go and usurp the governor of California. And the courts have already ruled in that situation that they have the ability to usurp the governor and use the National Guard if they feel like it. And we all read that executive order where he wants to do that. So you could essentially have ICE agents going into hospitals and ripping children from their mom. Where does that stop? He's starting with immigrants, but we know that's not their goal. The architect of all this was the Heritage Foundation, with the use of Stephen Miller, with the idea that immigrants were making the country more diverse. In order to quell that diversity, you have to essentially remove that population from the country. So now it's immigrants. Next, it might be nationalized citizens. Next, it might be Black Americans. And like, the 14th Amendment was made specifically because there were a bunch of slaves that did not have a place, that weren't U.S. citizens. So they had the 14th Amendment so that all people would be citizens. And essentially, all that's in limbo, as well as all of the other nationwide injunctions that we're putting against the Trump administration are now in limbo. The only option, it seems now, is to have a class action lawsuit, which takes a long time to farm, and you literally would have to have your name on that lawsuit to have any kind of form of protection. And there's no telling that the Trump administration won't argue that that class action lawsuit, that class, isn't illegal. Because let's say if you're not a legal citizen here, then what's preventing them from saying that you don't also benefit from our laws and the ability to have class action lawsuit? I'm so sorry I did this crying. Like, I just can't imagine. And this is the reason why it goes back to, like, I don't understand why we can't have bold leadership in the Democratic Party. Do you see how far Republicans are willing to go? We don't have anybody on our side that is willing to go this far to protect rights. To protect rights. These people are going so far to rip away rights. Why don't we have any kind of leadership that is coming out to protect rights? Why not? Y'all tell me what y'all think about all this in the comments. Again, I apologize for all the crying. I did not mean to do that. It's just that I wanted to make this video to make sure other people are aware that essentially the Supreme Court has sided with Donald Trump, and in 30 days, everything just falls in limbo when it comes to birthright citizenship. Citizens, United States citizens, Black people, white people, we're not safe in this country because it starts with the immigrant. Then where does it go? We all know this story. It starts with one group to see how you will accept it. Then they next target the next group. Then they target the next group. Then they target the next group. But like I said, y'all tell me what y'all think about all this in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.
Holocaust didn't start with gas chambers, it started with citizenship laws. Welcome to History Echo Series Part 55. So when we're educated in history, we recognize the lies dressed up as safety, so we can stop the atrocities before they repeat. The Supreme Court gave Trump more power. He's going to use it to sign more executive orders like this one. Sold to us as border control, it's being sold to us for our safety. We are being told that immigrants are taking advantage of us and they're only having babies here to anchor them here. But what they're really saying is this: even if you're born here, you still don't belong. It's not immigration policy, that's identity warfare. History has already told us what happens next. In 1935, Germany passed the Nuremberg Laws. With the stroke of a pen, German Jews lost their citizenship. They didn't lose their homes that day. They didn't lose their businesses yet. They lost their legal right to be protected by their country. That's what made everything else possible. The deportations, Auschwitz. The Holocaust didn't begin with camps. It began with paperwork. In 2013, the Dominican Republic ruled that anyone born to Haitian parents since 1929 was not a citizen. Even if they had birth certificates, voting records, or an ID. Tens of thousands of people, mostly Black, were suddenly stateless. They lost access to healthcare, to schools, and the right to work. They became illegal immigrants in the place they were born. No birthright, no protection. No protection, no future. In India, in 2019, the Citizenship Amendment Act gave religious minorities a fast track to citizenship. They excluded Muslims. Suddenly, millions were forced to prove their lineage through decades-old documents, many of which didn't exist. The result? Detention camps, stateless children, and mobs who felt empowered to say, "You were never really one of us." In 1982, Myanmar passed citizenship law that excluded a Muslim minority from legal recognition. They had lived there for generations, but they weren't listed under the 135 official ethnic groups. They were stripped of citizenship. That's how the genocide started. First they were stateless, then they were displaced, then slaughtered. When the state says that you don't exist, it's also saying they don't care if you disappear. Let's be clear, birthright citizenship in America was born out of slavery. The 14th Amendment was passed in 1868 to ensure that Black Americans formerly enslaved formally dehumanized, formally property, never be denied of humanity again. Now, over 150 years later, politicians want it gone. Not with a constitutional amendment, although that's possibly coming, but with legal battles, executive orders, and a populist talking point about your safety and immigration and othering people who are immigrants. They want you to see them as your enemy. Every example in history is telling us something else. Here's what happens when a child is born to a country who will not claim them. No birth certificate, no passport, no access to school, to healthcare, to legal protections, no ability to vote, to travel, to belong. They become what the UN calls invisible people. People born into non-existence, not by accident, but by design. Become a ghost in a system. And if history has taught us anything, it's that ghosts don't stay safe for very long. Comment history is echoing if you're listening. Hear this if you think citizenship should never be a weapon. You've seen how it's been used before. Tag someone who still thinks this is all about immigration.
I'm going to just say this to y'all. To everybody that could potentially be deported, I'm going to say it again. Y'all countries are rising. So y'all don't got nothing to be upset about. See, when you tap into discernment, or when the Most High gives you that discernment, he removes the veil from your eyes and that strong delusion, you look at America completely different. I tell somebody quick in a hurry that you're in a better country than I come from. Africa is way better. It's the real land of opportunity. You just got to get it from the bottom up. That's the greatest position to be in. You could build something way easier. I'm talking about the food ain't played with like America's. Talking about wildlife, natural resources in abundance. Y'all focused on the monetary aspect. We talking about a country that has pillaged our people. We talking about a country that has done all of this injustice to the people, but people still think it's the greatest nation on earth. Y'all see these agendas that's in place? Why would you even want to be here? The mass exodus is happening right now. People are getting out. The new American dream is to get out of the country and live outside of the country. But meanwhile, people are still under that strong delusion and still thinking that this country is rising. Still trying to come here. I get some countries are worse than America, but America about to be in that same boat. These people building bunkers, the elites, the ones that did all of this to our people and are continuously doing all of this injustice. They trying to build bunkers because they know their time coming. They know they done with. They spending trillions on bunkers thinking that can save them. No, you can't stop the wrath of the Most High, Yahuwah. It's going to be mixed opinions on this video, but y'all know me, I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to tell y'all stuff that y'all not going to hear probably from no other YouTuber. But I'm going to let the clips continue to roll, and people can feel how they feel.
Yeah, Awaken African here. Like I said, man, when we speak, we don't give legal advice, we don't give financial advice, we are only speaking, right? I feel like I feel like a lot of you guys don't take the time to think because of your hate, because of your lack of ability to share. You just want what best for you and only you, and you forget oppressing somebody else is basically oppressing yourself, and that will come and return to bite you in your butt. What do I mean by that? What am I speaking about? What am I talking about? A lot of people, like especially those who claim to be Americans, right? Those who claim to be American, like they're not from here though. Their forefathers are not from here. They come here after Christopher Columbus came here. All these people, they're not native. They're not native to this land. You'll see their skin. They're not native to this land, okay? And they'll be happy because Trump passed that. They eliminate the birthright citizenship. Listen carefully. Now, because these people, a lot of them, because of their hate, like I said, because of their hate and their inability to share, they feel like, oh, all these immigrants, all these people are coming here. But these are the same people that are from this land. They live closer to this land than where your forefathers came from. All right. But then because of your hate for them, you'll be like, oh, yeah, Trump passed this law, or you'll applaud Trump to pass this law. But guess what? As soon as this law goes in effect, all of you guys who came from Europe, all of you guys whose forefathers came from Europe, so now you came here, you were born here from a long time ago, you were born on this land, and now you have a baby Right? Imagine that your fathers came, your mothers came from Ireland or from whatever from Italy or whatever. They came from a part of Europe that's not from this land, from not native to this land. You're not indigenous to this land. They came and they have you on this land. So now you are 30, 40 years old living in this land. So now you have a baby, and now this baby you just have on this land is not a citizenship. Is not a citizen no more. Not by birth. Back then, it was a birthright citizenship. Not anymore. If you are a citizen, you come here, you become a citizen. No longer. So now, if your family, so now I'm pretty sure they're not gonna go back and revoke everything. It's gonna be from now on. But like I said, if you were a citizen, you could be like 20 years ago, 40 years ago. Now you're gonna have a baby. That baby is no longer gonna become a citizen because of the birthright citizenship. But you have to understand that. What is the same law they are using against you? The same paper they are using against you, you can use it against them, and that's how they lose. Because remember, all of those laws, they're gonna go back and say, we're gonna use those laws. We can do the same thing. We can go back and use the same law, like the law, like the baby follow the belly. Like my one of the lady I follow in here a lot, Mrs. Nebraska. I'm gonna tag her in here probably. If you guys want to go see her, she talks about a lot about that. About the law, the baby follow the belly, about the slave right, about who becomes slavery or who were indigenous to this land prior to the 14th Amendment, who were slave, who become black, and who are the original people. Because remember, black is a term defined when they were trying to categorize the people that they capture as slave, right? Anyone that claimed to be black, you claim to be a descendant of the slave or people that they captured during the war. All right, we were not all slave. We were not all slave, right? So, for example, I was trying to tell my people, like the people in DR, I was trying to tell them we were not all slave, and I was trying to tell them, Haiti help you guys get our independence, and and then that's the reason why we put it in the center of your Bible, in the center of your Bible, John 8:32, in the center of your Bible. Oh man, you see, it's funny. I just start going in depth and explaining John 8:32, and the moment I explain the whole thing, I try to save it. It went all the way back.
Hello, my Jamaican breeders. For sure, no, baby, now where Donald Trump has banned birthright citizenship. Now, not every state is gonna be following this. I guess states will be at will to choose who wanna continue, who wanna do that. And of course, you know, they file a case to appeal against the rulings. But yeah, birthright citizenship. If the man where you breed from is not a green card holder or a citizen, your baby is not gonna be a citizen. So if I wanna come on and have no papers, but you not gonna breed for a man when not even have papers either. Yeah, but baby not worry something. We don't have to worry about this, right? Because nobody not breed and them something, especially if you're not having a stay. Nobody not gonna breed. Oh no good. Everybody should be good, right? But yeah guys, look into it, Google it more. I haven't done my research on it yet. I just saw the synopsis and I'm just letting you guys know. And I don't know what states are gonna be upholding this. Do your research, especially if you're pregnant now and the man where you breed for the citizen or you're a citizen, you know. And I think it's gonna be in effect 30 days from it pass, so next month.
Breaking news, friends. Today, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that the Trump administration can move forward with some very key policies, like the executive order ending birthright citizenship. The court did not rule on the constitutionality of birthright citizenship itself. What it did rule on is the ability of a court or a district court judge to be able to issue a nationwide injunction stopping the policies from going into effect. This is a 6-3 decision, but this decision did say that the executive order on birthright citizenship will not go into effect until 30 days, until the parties have an opportunity to continue with their litigation and weigh in on the issues that are before the courts at this time. Just so you know, 28 states did not sue to stop the birthright citizenship executive order from going into effect. What that means, friends, is that after 30 days, those states will be able to enforce that executive order by denying citizenship to babies, newly born babies who aren't here yet. Newly born babies will be denied of the right to be U.S. citizens in those states. And just to refresh your memory, the executive order says that children who are born of undocumented parents, meaning both parents do not have a green card or U.S. citizenship, those children will not be considered U.S. citizens. In addition to children who are born of foreigners who are here legally on a visa, and yet the child is born here on U.S. soil, those children will not be considered a U.S. citizen either unless one of the parent is a lawful permanent resident or a citizen. Guys, this is big news. I'm covering all things related to Trump immigration changes. Follow for more.
And I'm going to say this too. We're talking about illegal. Y'all trying to back something illegal. That's a crime that these people are committing. Y'all do understand that, right? So if y'all say y'all want people to be held accountable for them breaking the law and everything else, right? When somebody break the law, that y'all want them held accountable. But y'all want illegal immigrants in the country that came over here illegally. We talking about during the term of Joe Biden, they were given free housing for 2 years, luxury apartments at that, tens of thousands in food stamps, tens of thousands on debit cards. I had one pop up at my door where I had to handle that how I handled that. These people are doing and committing crimes. A lot of them are criminals already in their home country and came here and committed crimes, making it unsafe for the American people. Now, I don't agree with no politician. I don't agree with voting, none of that. I'm not into politics. I just know things are going to go how they're meant to go in these end times. But y'all want that to go on is what y'all saying. And continue on. No other country ain't going for that. Most of them ain't. They get them up out of there with the quickness. I don't feel there's nothing wrong with this man wanting to get them people up out of here. The 14th Amendment was not for them. And y'all know that if you were immigrant, you know that. That's why you had to come over here the way you had to come over here. Illegally. You had to go through all type of hurdles to get over here. You couldn't just fly on over here, go through immigration. Maybe under Joe Biden, they didn't care. They was letting whoever in. Most people came. Y'all had to go through all of these different measures to get over here. Y'all had to break the law. The ignorance of people online, I'm telling you.
Trump and birthright citizenship, what that means. If you're living in the United States illegally and pregnant with a child, you basically have 30 days to get that baby out. Trump's order itself has a 30-day grace period before taking effect, meaning right now there is no change to birthright citizenship, and children born everywhere in the country are still U.S. citizens. Regulations will need to be drafted and specific of such an order still need to be adjusted. For example, will every pregnant woman in America now need to go to the hospital with a passport or a birth certificate, says ABC News. The White House on Friday had no clear answers when pressed for specifics, says ABC News, guys. So, for anyone that's pregnant, still carrying a child, you have 30 days before he blocked it completely.
Hey guys, hey, I'm getting a lot of questions about the birthright citizenship bill or case that came out from the United States Supreme Court. Here's what I want to tell you. I think it's going to be a cold day in hell when the president stops individuals that were born in the country from becoming citizens. Why? It is embedded in our Constitution. So the president will have to do some kind of constitutional amendment in order to change that. Now, in the meantime, can he slowly erode those rights? Yes, he can. We can see that happening. Why? The court favors the president. we have a 6-3 majority in the court, right? We have 6 very conservative judges and 3 liberal judges. So they're going to do whatever it can to aid this current administration in eroding the rights of that Americans enjoy. So what can I tell you? Does it scare me? I'm not scared, but I'm bothered by it. I'm really fatigued. It bothers me that this is the way the court is going. But what do you need to know? It's not like what happened with the court means that nobody born in the United States will be automatically considered a citizen. All it means is that the justices have said all those injunctions, whenever anyone wants to stop the president from moving forward with ending birthright citizenship, it can't be a nationwide injunction. It has to be by federal circuits, by federal circuits, by federal circuits. That's what it means. They did not rule on the merits of whether individuals born in the United States can be citizens. That was not ruled upon, right? I know it's complicated. It's complicated for me, and I think it's complicated for you too. But that's my 2 cents on it. Blessed Saturday and walk good.
Thank you, sister, for that clarity. She was about the most logical one on this video. It was a couple more. But if you watch to the end, then you should have a better understanding of what this all means. Family, if you made it to the end, comment, I made it to the end. If you want to see more of YT and his unapologetic opinion, then y'all go ahead and subscribe, join the tribe. I appreciate y'all. Peace. And to my Hebrew family, shalom. I'll catch y'all on the next one.